Hi, this video is going to look at the sources of electricity with a particular focus on non-renewable energy sources. There are many ways that we can generate electricity. We generate electricity from renewable and non-renewable energy resources. I am going to give a quick definition for each of these energy resources and a positive and negative for each. Renewable energy resources will never run out, and this is one of the main positives because it means that we will always have access to these resources. However, the energy that they provide tends to be unreliable. Non-renewable energy resources are finite. This means that they will eventually run out, and this is a big negative. Another negative for non-renewable energy resources is that they do tend to cause considerable amount of damage to the environment. The environment is damaged in both the extraction / the mining of these resources and when they are used to generate electricity. Examples of non-renewable energy resources are oil, coal, natural gas and nuclear fuel. Oil, coal and natural gas are known as fossil fuels. And we're going to start by looking at these. Fossil fuels are the world's main source of energy. In the UK, about 3/4 of our energy is generated from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels store energy in the form of chemical energy. Power stations tend to use fossil fuels. They usually run on coal or natural gas. When the fossil fuels are burned, they transfer chemical energy into heat, which heats water or air, depending on what type of power station it is. The steam / hot air turns a turbine, and this turbine is connected to a generator. So as the generator turns, it turns the kinetic energy into electrical energy. The electricity that is generated then goes onto the national grid, and it is used by consumers. There are many advantages and disadvantages to using non-renewables as a form of energy. One advantage is that fossil fuels are relatively cheap and they are easy to obtain. However, this may not be the case in the future as we start to run out of fossil fuels. If we start to run out of fossil fuels, it means that there are less that are being obtained, and the ones that are being extracted may become more expensive to extract. Also, a rise in population will likely increase the demand for fossil fuels, and this would be met with an increase in the price. So in the future, the price of fossil fuels may rise, and this would cause an increase in the price of the electricity that it generates. Another positive for fossil-fueled power stations is that they can be turned on and start producing electricity very quickly. Thus, they are very responsive to a change in electricity demand. Natural gas has the quickest turn-on time, and the turn-on time is the time it takes from you turning on the power station to the power station generating electricity. A disadvantage of fossil-fueled power stations is that the resources are finite. This means that they will eventually run out. Also, the burning of fossil fuels can release harmful chemicals into the environment that have adverse effects. The burning of coal and oil release sulfur dioxide, which can lead to breathing problems and acid rain. Fossil fuels also release carbon dioxide, which causes global warming because of the enhanced greenhouse effect. Out of the 3 fossil fuels, coal produces the most carbon dioxide relative to the amount of energy produced. Many scientists and economists are calling for coal to be kept in the ground and never burnt. One way to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that goes into the atmosphere is to capture it. This process is known as carbon capturing. When the carbon has been captured, it can then be stored underground in an old oil field or gas field. We are now going to look at another non-renewable energy resource, and this is nuclear fuel. The main nuclear fuels are uranium and plutonium. Uranium and plutonium are non-renewable energy resources because there is only a finite amount of them in the world, and when they run out, they run out. The nuclear fuel undergoes a controlled chain reaction, which produces heat. The heat turns water into steam, which then drives a turbine that is connected to a generator, which generates electricity. A positive for nuclear fuel is that it is 1,000,000 times more effective at producing electricity than coal. Also, nuclear fuels do not generate any carbon dioxide, which means that they do not have an enhanced greenhouse effect and therefore do not cause global warming. One negative of nuclear power is that the consequences of an accident are significant. If there was an accident, radioactive material could be leaked into the environment. This would result in an adverse effect on the health of the residents and the natural landscape. Nuclear reactors are very safe, but there is a slim possibility of this happening. After the 2011 tsunami and earthquake in Japan, the Fukushima nuclear power plant had a meltdown and radioactive waste was released into the environment. Another disadvantage is that it takes the longest time out of all the power stations to power up. This means that it cannot respond to increases or decreases in demand for electricity. Another negative is that nuclear power stations are very expensive and time-consuming to both build and decommission. So I've mentioned this during the video, but now I want to have a look at what one of the non-renewable energy resources is the quickest to respond to a change in energy demand. The quickest is gas. Next it's oil, then coal, then nuclear. Coal and nuclear tend to be kept on constantly to provide a base load electricity, as they have the longest startup time. Oil and gas powered power stations are used to provide extra energy at peak times because they have the shortest startup time. For more videos, content, quizzes and past papers, go on to www.elevise.co.uk.